And welcome to the Social Club. It is time once again for the Bet Victor Golden Goal. This week it's Middlesbrough versus Chelsea, and we've got Robbie's pick right here. Gaston Ramirez in the 17th minute. Chelsea haven't conceded a lot of goals at the moment, but Robbie's betting against them. Nice one for the brew, mate. Appreciate that. A bit strange, if I'm perfectly honest with you. Let's see what Baz from Toffee TV's doing. Let's just take your phone there, mate. We'll get rid of that notification from his missus. Moses, 11th minute. Victor Moses playing right wing back at the minute. Baz has got some money on him, I'm sure. And then we're over to United People's TV and Liam, who looks happy as laddie. And why would he be? Well, because he's got Costa in the 11th minute, and Costa is an injured out, as I'm sure you're well aware. There we go. We'll put the agenda back there. But of course, play along with us. Do so by clicking the link in the video description. You can win £25,000 for correctly predicting the goal scorer in the minute. That's the first goal scorer in the minute. But as I say, it is Social Club. We are here to talk right now about Alexis Sanchez and the fact that his contract has only got 18 months left to run. Robbie, do you think he could be going to Manchester City? Because that's the rumours at the minute, mate.
No. I think he'll stay. I think the things that I've been hearing is that both him and Ozil have been they want to find out what's going to happen with the manager. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Because that's also a factor in this, and that, you know, nobody knows what's happening yet with Arsene Wenger. Will he stay or will he go at the end of the season? And I heard a little rumour around the club that both of them were like, yeah, I heard that Ozil was like literally, you know, said that he's literally signed, and I heard that also that Alexis has agreed to sign, but they both want to know what's happening with the manager.
Nothing to do with money.
You know,
nothing to do with money.
Sorry?
Nothing to do with £200 a week.
Yeah, and obviously, I think they'll get that anyway. I think both of them will get that sort of money. I think the difference between Arsenal, when we lost players like Van Persie and players like that, we weren't paying the wages. We had like a ceiling, and that was it, and we weren't going to go over it. I think now there's more money available, and they've realised that, you know, if you're going to keep a player like Ozil, you're going to keep a player like Sanchez, you do have to pay more money for these guys. And I reckon they would pay him £200,000 a week. Probably City could go even higher than that, as we know. You know,
there's rumours as well, though, Robbie, isn't there, that he wants to put a release clause into his contract?
Yeah,
does that worry you as an Arsenal fan?
Listen, every player in every team, you know, they want these release clauses, they want these sort of things. So
it's his contract. Ozil doesn't, definitely not.
Look, I see where he's coming from, because he's still hurt that Liverpool didn't get him back in the day.
I am.
So he's still hurt.
I'd love to have
about release clauses and all that. Listen, we don't know, do we? From what I can see, Alexis looks very happy at Arsenal. He's in a team where he's kind of like one of the main guys. If he goes to City, he wouldn't be one of the main guys at City. You know what I mean? So for me, yeah, listen, the appeal of City is always there with the money. They're always going to be buying, you know, the very best players. But I don't know. I get the feeling that he will stay at Arsenal. I think Ozil definitely signed a new deal, and I can see Alexis signing a deal as well. The fans love him there, and as you said, money's an important factor. And I think the money will be on the table this time to enable him to stay.
If he's moving for money, you know, the teams in Manchester pay a lot of money and stuff, don't they? I suppose the thing that I want to ask you is, should Arsenal have tied this up before 18 months? Because
how far in advance is 18 months? How far in advance should you have tied it up?
2 years, don't they? You know, they've not opened negotiations, as far as I'm aware, with Sanchez, have they?
18 months is kind of standard, isn't it, with a lot of players?
Not with us. We'll sign Mignolet up to a 5-year deal when we don't want him. You know what I mean? I don't know what standard is in this league, but I was under the impression that about 2 years, you don't want to be going into the summer with a year left on your contract and his value starts to plummet, because, you know, in 6 months' time, that's exactly what's going to happen.
I don't know. I mean, look what happened with Van Persie. Is it going to be a case of exactly the same thing again? How long in advance did they try and talk to Van Persie? He wanted to wait and see what happened. And ultimately, he went to United, won the league, didn't he? Maybe Sanchez is thinking the same thing. And
won't be United, mate.
No, won't be United, no. If he goes to City, there's obviously a great chance of Champions League football and challenging for the title as well. Plus, he's back to his old manager. But I think 18 months is... How far in advance do you have to negotiate? 2 years? I mean, that's still a long way away. What's going to be happening in 2 years? Look at Leicester. Leicester won the league last year. And they're mid-table. How far away are they from relegation? You know what I mean? If you want to negotiate 2 years in advance, you don't know where you're going to be in 2 years. I think 18 months, even a year, depending on what you're doing. Like Robbie says, he doesn't even know if the manager's going to be there next year or what the story is. I think 18 months is...
It's a good point, that, isn't it? Because Wenger's been such a massive part of that club, hasn't he, Barry? And, you know, I can totally understand that they look like they're both enjoying the football now, Ozil and Sanchez, and they will want to know, won't they, what Wenger's doing before they make a big decision like that.
Yeah, because he's just part of the fabric, isn't he? He's been there for that long. He's delivered Champions League football every single season. Okay, the criticisms are he should have won more than, you know, over that time. But they are key elements into Arsenal, you know, into this Arsenal side. Arsenal right in there, by the way. If they'd have beat Spurs, they'd have been joint top with Liverpool, albeit we are early, you know, it's only November. Who's to say Arsenal won't win it this year? You know, there's a lot of teams in the mix.
Come back to me at the end of January.
No, but I'm saying, but at this moment in time, they're in there, aren't they? And they're playing good football, and he's got, you know, he's keeping Giroud out too. I think is a good striker as well. So
I think the other thing,
interesting.
I also think the other thing that it's sort of changed over the past few years is that these players also would have seen a lot of players that have moved and their careers have, you know, gone to pot. I mean, you can say, sorry?
Like Nasri, you mean?
Nasri's an example. All right, he did win the league, but he's like a fringe player
hasn't really
at City.
Played,
And now he's on loan at Sevilla. Yeah, I mean, your career can disappear very quickly at those clubs. You know, even Van Persie, when I look at it, right, I mean, yes, he went and he won the league with Manchester United, which, you know, that was his aim. He said, apart from the money, of course, right? But that was one of his aims. But look at him now. You know, look at him struggling at Fenerbahce.
Do you know what
look how quickly...
He's still on £220,000 a week, Van Persie.
Look how quickly they offloaded him. From
but
Man
that was
United.
Van Gaal, though. That's a completely different story. That's a different story altogether.
You know what I think with some of these players, right? And listen, I'm not saying this is what Sanchez will be thinking, right? But I personally think sometimes with some of these players, they need to think about their legacy. So Van Persie, his legacy at Man United, is he really going to be a legend of Man United? He's not a legend.
Take it from a Man United fan, he's a legend. To leave Arsenal to come and win the title, which is what he done.
I don't think he's going to go back to United and he's going to be a
United played Fenerbahce 2 weeks. United played Fenerbahce 2 weeks ago. You're just saying that because you're disgusted because he left your club to come and win the title.
I don't think he's a massive legend there. He's not.
Why is he not a massive legend?
Cantona or somebody like that.
He put the goals in the team that should have
won the league. Yeah.
Yeah, look, he had that great season, and then straight after that, literally, they said, on your bike. That's a real legend, isn't it?
I think if you're an Arsenal fan, the fear is obviously, like Liam touched on before, with the Manchester City thing. You've got Guardiola there, haven't you? Yeah. And he's managed them before. The money, like you rightly said, Robbie, is a pull as well. It's what Arsenal do next, I suppose.
It's his biggest challenge to loyalty to Arsenal.
But the biggest problem, I think the biggest problem is, I mean, you're Arsenal, big Arsenal man. I mean, what do you do? Does Wenger stay again after this year, or would you be trying to? You know, it's a tough one.
That's the
no, but this is what I want you to answer.
Yeah, that's the
million.
But that's $1 million question. I mean, you know, if it does depend. You know, if those two guys are looking on it.
Would you keep Wenger just to keep Ozil and Sanchez?
I would, yeah. I mean, they're vital players for our team. Right now, they'd be very, very difficult to replace. So, you know, if
that's like United keeping Ferguson just because they had to keep Van Persie.
Well, you would have been better off keeping Ferguson.
Well, yes, we can see that now in hindsight. But at the time, Van Persie went to United for Ferguson and to win the title, didn't he? And Ferguson left after 1 year. Obviously, Van Persie didn't know that. But what happened? He went off the boil.
Exactly what I'm saying. You know what I mean? So you've got to be careful these moves that you make.
Yeah.
Because as you rightly said there, as soon as he went there, yes, he had that great season. They won the title. He scored the goals. Fergie left the season after. It's all gone downhill for him. To me, for Van Persie after that, it's gone right downhill.
He's done what he wanted to do, though.
Yeah,
ultimately, he wanted to win the league, and he's won the league. So whether we can debate whether it's about legacy or anything else, for a football player, I'm pretty sure it's about money and it's about titles. And ultimately, he's got that.
27. Van Persie was touching 30 when he went to United. Was he 30 actually?
Yeah, he was. Yeah, because. You know, you paid a lot of money for a 30-year-old in his last year of his contract. Yeah. You know, but I don't know. I'm still not sure if he's I still don't sure he's got that proper legendary status at Manchester United.
He backed us again. I thought you were going to say something about Sanchez earlier.
Listen, I think he's a hero at Manchester United for what he did, but a legend.
I'm not. I don't know. Look, if anyone wins the league for Liverpool, they'll pretty much all be legends at this point. It's been so long. Baz, I'm sure you're in the same boat, aren't you?
Shadow. Well, now they win a cup, they're a legend for us.
That's it. Amakachi wasn't
Damn, he still is. Hey.
That's the point, though, isn't it? That's the point.
Yeah.
Right. That wasn't it. Who scored the goal? It was Amakachi in the semi-final for you, though, wasn't it? They get 2 against Tottenham or something. My brother's an Everton fan. He still goes on about that. Amakachi, like. But look, hands on heart. Do you think Sanchez is going to stay then?
Yes.
Barry? No.
I could see him stay, but the Guardiola thing, I think it's how well he got on with him, I suppose. But is the pull there for him to work? And I think, like you said before, what's happening with
Was he the manager that sold him? Am I right in saying that as well, or had he moved on to buy him by that point?
We've had 3 since.
Probably no way of us finding out.
How long has he been there? 3 years. Pep's been away for more than 3 years.
It's also a lesson, isn't it? You know what I mean? That when you go to those clubs, like he's at Barcelona, the players, teams like City as well, they're always going to be looking for that next big thing. You could be gone.
But shouldn't that I suppose this is when it comes back to, shouldn't Arsenal be looking for that next big thing? If he's 27 years old, you kind of want the next one coming through now. And do you trust Arsenal and the board and the manager to have the next guy coming in?
What I'm trying to say is, like, at Arsenal, yes, they're looking for the next big thing, but they're looking at Ozil and they're looking at Sanchez and they're building the team around those guys, right? If he goes to Man City, they wouldn't be building the team around him. It's just like, we've got another big name. Yeah. And if he has a season where, say he got injured for a bit.
He might not even play.
Yeah, you know what I mean? He may not be the main man there. He could, sort of like what happened to him at Barcelona. So that's what I'm saying when I'm saying about legacy. Maybe he needs to think long term. If I stay at Arsenal, the fans love me here. We're building a great team here. We do have a chance of winning things. I'm going to get rewarded with good amount of money. I'll be living in London, the best city in the country, right? So why do I want to move for?
Go on.
The extra 100 grand a week is what he wants to move for.
That's what it's
the
about,
extra 100 grand a week.
That's what he's going to be moving.
I'll be completely honest, I couldn't give a less of a fuck, but I think he'll go.
I must admit, I cannot see a world where Arsenal do the same thing again as what happened with Van Persie. I think,
but City's going to throw money at it.
Well, you know what? I think if Arsenal decide that they want to sell him, that's completely different. I think they've still got to wrap his contract up so that they can make sure that the bid that he receives the most money, because they need to replace him. He's a huge part of that squad. And he could fight into the title this season. You never know. Arsenal are great form. For me, they're playing just as good attacking football as Liverpool at the minute. And Sanchez is key to that. And I think they've built their attack around Sanchez.
What a front three City. You'd have those Sterling, Aguero and Sanchez.
Unbelievable. With De Bruyne behind him. It'd be incredible. I for one, I kind of hope that they don't sign him, but if Arsenal fall for that again, I'm not sure.
It depends how deep his pockets are, doesn't it? It's all whether the extra £100,000 a week really means anything to him, because that's what City is. That's the attraction for City. He's got everything he wants at Arsenal. He's got Champions League football. He's got the chance to win the title. If he gets there, Wenger for the next year anyway. The big attraction to City is the money, isn't it? That's the only reason.
I'll tell you what. The other point that you just made, a great point there. I mean, the fans would go down terribly if they didn't managed to sign Sanchez up and he ended up going.
Yeah.
All right.
That would almost put the nail in Wenger's coffin.
Yeah, it'd be bad enough if he went, to a Bayern or Juventus or whatever, but that would be. But if he ended up going to City, I'll tell you, I did.
Well, just before we wrap it up, then we've got obviously a couple more topics to discuss, but wanted to talk about your Bet Victor golden goal picks. You went for
Costa in the 11th
against Middlesbrough. He's potentially injured.
He's got to play, says it all the time.
No, you know what? I can understand that. Like, Chelsea do that a lot, don't they? Where they pull someone for an international break and he comes back and, what did you go for, Robbie?
Gaston Ramirez in the 70th minute.
Gaston Ramirez in the 70th.
I watched Middlesbrough. I've watched them past couple of games, man. They're decent. Hopefully, fingers crossed, they'll get a result over Chelsea, but it's going to be hard. But Gaston Ramirez.
Baz?
Victor Moses in the 11th.
He's been playing well though, hasn't he?
Brilliant against us last time out, so yeah, I think he'll coming in. George Friend will go to sleep. Moses being round the back.
And I've gone for Michy Batshuayi in the 9th minute, which is between 8 and 8.
He's not going to play.
He ain't starting.
But the thing is, Hazard pulled up, didn't he, the other night with a calf injury and stuff. Costa's a doubt. So I'm playing he could play and he could play
They'll
up
be
top. So
playing.
we don't know.
They'll
Play
be
along
there.
with us as well, of course, by clicking the link in the video description. You could win £25,000. It's nothing to play along. Why not just do it? Do it now. And thanks very much for watching the Social Club. Subscribe to Ball Street. Subscribe to United People's TV, Arsenal Fan TV, and Baz, because he's an editor.
Baz.
What bad.